mga pamangking.
Yo.
Napapansin niyo po, medyo maluwag kami ngayon dahil wala si Hans. Pero lang, he just has some personal stuff to do. For now, it's back to the old crew, the duo, the old duo.
So
Our
old.
the old duo
Old.
kasi mas bata sa amin si Hans ang aming maknay. So literal na old duo dahil matatanda na kami. Anyway, yes, we are going to be talking about infinite possibilities for the upcoming events. Infinity, there's a lot of Infinity events right now, so we're going to talk about what decks to expect in the coming events, in the coming weeks. Sasama na rin natin dito. May mga updated na ba to, Ian? Updated na ba yung ating
Well,
mga decks?
generally updated.
Tsaka kami din, naghahanda na rin kami for, syempre, mga Infinity events natin like Acme and PICCS, Infinity Cup. So, yeah. At least we want to share our knowledge of, or at least what we think the meta is gonna be and what you can expect from the other competitors in the upcoming weeks. So let's go.
Not necessarily na na ito yung mga deck na gagamitin ng tao, but I guess for those of you coming from core that hasn't played Infinity, parang ito na yung inyong intro to what decks to expect and
Yeah.
probably how some of them would play. No? Again, hindi kami nag-gatekeep ng information. Again, if you could find it on your own, at least sa amin, na-compile na namin siya para sa inyo.
We're here to simplify it at least. Pero if you want to go more in depth on these archetypes, or sorry, on these decks, then feel free to do so. But at least we're providing you a starting point.
Yep.
Ian, okay, let's
Okay,
go, let's go.
So, just to give you an idea, so syempre we've said in previous episodes, it's just really the triangle, no?
Yes.
So it's aggro beats mid-range, aggro is beaten by mid-range is beaten by control is beaten by aggro.
Yes.
Yan yung triangle natin, no?
The
And
rock, paper,
we will be looking,
scissors.
we will be looking at 3 decks per archetype. No, not necessarily most popular, but we tried to get some statistics kung ano yung mas linalaro ng mga tao. No?
Yeah.
So the top 3 from each archetype we will be sharing. Yan. Okay,
And the
so without
first one.
further ado, yung una natin is aggro. So yung pinaka probably sikat na aggro
Yeah.
deck na meron tayo is of
Amber
course
Steel.
Amber Steel aggro. So it plays really fast, no? To the point na kung saan you just play characters, shoot people on the other side, no? And then
The
you
flowchart.
just you quest out, no? So general gameplay here is just put down characters. If there are characters on the other side, you hit them with Strength of Raging
The
Fire,
pew
no?
pews.
Tapos yung Along Came Zeus. Some decks would also carry yung Let the Storm Rage On. So these are just like some cards that you might see. No? So key cards will be of course Daisy, one of the most efficient questers out there. No, you'd also play
1-4.
you'd also play some piglets for a little bit more speed. No, so syempre you play a lot of 1 drops, 2 drops. It's not difficult to have your board a little bit wide and piglet can quest for 3. No, yung trick natin dito is what we call the Rapunzel trap.
Yes.
No, so ano siya, it's something that people might encounter na that kailangan ninyo siyang alamin kung paano siya nangyayari. So the Rapunzel trap generally is you purposefully hit an opposing character with 3 strength or less with a character that can take the damage like Daisy. So let's say for
Lawrence.
example or a Lawrence, no. So more often than not, yung strength na common in Infinity is at 3. No? So you hit Daisy to a 3 strength character on the other side, no? Not intending to kill it, but to get damage on Daisy in this case, and then you play a Rapunzel to heal and draw 3. So dun nang gagaling yung gas nitong deck na to. Problem always with aggro decks is that you kind of run out of cards to play. So, kapag naka-top deck ka na, kung naghahanap ka ng dock ta's di mo siya nakuha, matatalo ka talaga. And a good aggro player will be able to navigate this one using the Rapunzel trap. So other cards that you might see is some will play yung Ursula na na Vanessa.
It's a Vanessa, yeah.
Yep.
1/4 singer.
Some might actually play the Dales here.
Tempting to
Still
play.
still very early to say whether or not magagamit siya. And on a pinch, pwede rin naman kasi, 'di ba, since me takes damage as he if he's exerted at the end of the turn. So if he has 2 damage, pwede mo na rin i-Rapunzel yun for drawing 2, which is you save as me and then you still draw cards.
Smee
So you
gets more
don't
value out of it, yeah.
Yep, you don't necessarily need to get the 3 damage. Yun yung optimal. But it's not something that you would want to get every time, or it's parang na it will present itself every time.
Okay,
So next natin is the AmAm Aggro.
Yeah.
So ito naman plays a little bit faster. No, kasi nga siya it's all gas, no brakes.
Yeah, and it's a
No.
sneakier. It's a lot sneakier than It's a lot
medyo,
sneakier than Amber Steel Aggro.
Yeah, so this one plays a lot of 1-drops na 2 lore questing. So you have the Lilos, Maleficents, the Daisies, Christopher Robins, if you have them, if you're
Underdog,
playing on the
yeah.
draw. And then a lot of insta lore gain cards like Gathering Knowledge of Wisdom. You have the Honeymarins over there. Card that pushed this deck over the edge is Pocahontas. So on average, it earns you like 2 to 3 lore because it could always copy the 2 lore from the smaller peeps, no? And of course, yung paisa-isang lore na nakukuha mo from the White Rose, from the Merlin Goats, no? And of course, the Chromicon to get you a lot of lore, a lot of cards right off the bat. No, so this runs particularly fast, and sometimes it just checks magche-checkmate na rin siya.
Yeah.
No? So very scary itong deck na to kapag meron pa siyang cards at around like mga 15.
Yeah, 15 lore is the danger zone
Yeah,
for this. It was
danger.
danger zone na yun pag 15 lore because you could
Mm.
already get a few insta lore gains from this deck. I mean, I've been a victim of this deck so many times. Talagang pag nag-15 na, do I just give up? Do I even waste my time? They're probably gonna have it because of the Amethyst Chromicon. That is one of the key cards there. It just really keeps the hand full, keeps all of the options open. Even if you're giving cards to your opponent, it doesn't matter because your cards gain instant lore anyway, and they're gonna win you the game most likely. So this is a very, very dangerous aggro deck.
So plays pretty similar to how the Amethyst Aggro will work in core, except that you get more consistency cards in the form of Merlin Goat.
Yeah.
Yan talaga yung sobrang lakas eh. Aggro decks are easy to describe, no? So let's move
All
on
gas,
to
no
the
breaks.
next one.
Okay, this is I guess I will be the key expert here because Blue Steel Kiwi is my comfort zone, and again, this is a aggro version of Blue Steel, and it is one of the more popular builds. Although it has fallen out of favor for the past few sets, it's kind of making a comeback, especially with the new cards. But we're gonna talk about the current build, which is pretty much just again, you need to just turn sideways, but it's a bit more closer to mid-range. It's still aggro, but it's a very slow aggro, as I would always say, because it's all about getting all of your Tudor questers out early, and of course getting Belle out early because she can be a dominating force on the board if you get her on the first turn with any item that you play, and then you banish that item, and then you get her for free, and then you play any of your Tudor questers that are 2 cost, like your Nalas, your Smees, and just wreck whatever they played on the first turn with Let the Storm Rage on or Strength of a Raging Fire, and just keep on playing your Again, you're a very aggressive lore gaining characters. And one key card, of course, is Alice. Alice is the one of the primary lore engines of this deck. Because once you get her on board, and the next turn you put down a headless horseman bodyguard to protect her, can put she can put ward and one lore pip on another character, and that headless horseman is going to be pretty much untouchable unless they have some really big challengers on board. But and once you get that established, once you've stabilized, it's really hard to stop the lore gain from this. Although it does have a huge weakness, and that is the bad matchup is the AS Steelsong. Steelsong is one of its worst matchups. But again, we adjust, and that's why we have MacDuck Manor over here, so that's kind of one of our options to help us push through that slog if we are going to go through Steelsong. And yeah, and of course there's Cogsworth to make your characters a little bit more hardy. It gives everyone resist one. It also has ward, so it protects itself. Just only quest it when it's safe, but otherwise Cogsworth stays standing. And yeah, that is Blue Steel Kiwi. Na again, one of my favorite builds. I've been practicing with this for the past 2 months, and I've been trying to push this to the limit as well.
I think yung notable thing with the Kiwi is that if you're expecting a lot of aggro in your area, no, yung Kiwi is the best aggro against aggro.
Yeah, actually.
Yun yung ano, yun yung qualifier
Because
natin
it
because
can control the board. Eh. Again, it's a little
yeah,
bit closer. It's leaning mid range already, but I would still count it as an aggro because it can control the board.
the most important thing here is that you can play the bell on turn 1.
Yes.
Which the aggro decks, the other two,
Yeah.
can't really deal with right away.
It's
No?
hard to answer that.
So it automatically stops people from questing right away if you have the bell in play. So she can sing Storm Rage, she can sing yung Raging Fire, no? And yun nga parang pag nasunod-sunod na yung mga ibang characters.
Yeah, once you curve out, once you get that good curve, it's really hard to stop.
Yeah, yung ang okay dito is that the damage that Smee gets is negated if you have a
Yeah,
Cogsworth in
Cogsworth,
play.
yeah. That one
So
damage
medyo
doesn't go through. It becomes
doesn't go.
zero.
Kaya ano,
So much
parang
value.
yung Cogsworth in its even on its own, malaki pa rin yung natutulong niya sa deck. Although yun nga parang BJ has said earlier off recording na some people don't use it anymore. But again, ako at least for the versions that I've played against, I still use this one and it's pretty difficult to deal with kasi nakakasira rin siya ng math eh. No? So you have that ano.
Actually, ang dami kong nahuhuli yung mga nakakalimutan nila i-take into account yung Alice. And they think that, oh, he's only like 70, he's like 16 lore, but there's an Alice and the one questor on board, and they forget that Alice adds a lore pip.
Gives a lore pip. Ako,
Yeah.
I always count Alice
Yun nga.
as 3. Pag binibilang ko
Yun
na
nga,
yung
as
lore
3
sa
talaga
kabila,
yan.
3 si Alice eh.
Yun talaga. And yeah, again, may mga nahuhuli pa rin ako doon na parang nakakalimutan nila that Alice gives one lore pip. So,
Yep.
Just something to remember if you're facing a Kiwi. Alice gives 3 if there's another character on board. So yeah, that is it for Kiwi.
Okay though. Aggro so easy to discuss.
Yeah.
Just turn sideways. Characters efficient, turn sideways.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so yung next natin moving on to the mid-range decks
Yeah.
is of course yung RA bounce. So at the start of like towards the end of set 11, just right before Wilds came out, no. This deck people didn't play it. And then, as of recording, nagkaroon siya ng resurgence.
Yeah, it's shot up in popularity.
For some odd reason.
A sudden spike.
A sudden spike in deck usage, no? And one key interaction na lumabas from this deck is that it just has so much cards
Yeah.
in the form of
The key card that is here,
Scrooge.
Scrooge.
Scrooge McDuck, feeling ko yung pinaka-key card nitong deck na to. So what it does is that you put it turn 2, no? It stops aggro in its tracks kasi ang laki-laki niya. It can get big, it gets bigger and bigger every
Every turn.
turn. No, and then you just bounce it to get all of the cards
Yeah, with
under
the
it
meme.
and then play it again. No, so parang uh, na-stall mo na yung kalaban mo, you get to draw more cards, no? And then you just challenge with a meme fox or whatever, no? You use Elsas to exert the other side, tas hahampas ka, no? One thing na wala dito, and some decks have been carrying, kasi not every deck has this one, kasi medyo fragile siya. The Flynn Rider frenemy,
The
yung iba
frenemy.
na
Yeah.
ginagamit. Yep. So if meron ka ng frenemy and then you just have the Scrooge, yung aggro decks just fold. Kasi they can't quest and you keep gaining 3 lore dahil si Scrooge syempre will
It's probably
probably
gonna be
be
the biggest strength
the
on board.
biggest
Yeah.
strength on board, no? Until you bounce it, pero parang by the time na bounce ka, you could put
Yeah.
down a Maui or whatever, no? And then of course you just have the library for a little bit of more consistent draw. Put everybody in the library and then do a B prep. Tas lamang ka pa din. Some decks will have the castle as a ano in
Queen's
tandem.
Castle. Queen's Castle.
Yep. Yep. So ano din parang more draw and yun nga parang since it gains 2 lore, medyo forced ka to trade with it, no?
Mhm.
And kapag nag-trade ka, pag in-attack mo then they get to hit you back, no? So very consistent, very ano tawag mo nun, very I would say honest kahit
Honest. Yeah,
papaano.
that's true. It is
I would
honest
say
Lorcana.
I would say honest Lorcana kasi you still have to ink every turn. None of that ramping shenanigans that we get with the other decks later. No, but ito siya. So it's a very solid choice, I
Yeah.
think. No, it has fairly good bodies to challenge into the other
And that
characters.
Merlin
Has
crab
lots of
kind of
cards.
ano, that Merlin crab also contributes a lot to this deck because
Yep.
all of your those little Diablos and those little brooms can suddenly hit hard because
Mm-hmm.
of Merlin crab, both coming in and going out. So that's very very relevant, and this actually especially a big headache when again as a Kiwi player. This is the Mim Fox and Merlin Crab combo. Such a big headache. Can take out your bodyguard and Alice in an instant.
Mm.
So
So what can happen is that you can sequence the triggers so that when Crab leaves, you can give the Mim Fox in
that's
play the
3.
Challenger.
Challenger
Yeah,
3.
so technically it hits for 7.
Yeah.
So medyo malaki. No, and of course he used the cantrips, no, the Diablos, the brooms,
Friends.
the followers, no, to ano to gain to get to your higher quality cards. No, friends the same. No, you get use brawls to brawl those pesky Diablos away, and then
Yeah.
yun siya. Moving on to the next deck is another technically honest deck. Ano, it's a fair deck. Yun nga, some people have said fair siya.
Pag
It's GP
mid-range naman
discard.
usually that is the case with mid-range decks. It's a
Oo.
fair deck.
It's a fair deck. So, this one also would probably have, what you call this, parang, uh, certain key cards
Mhm.
na pini-play. Depende din sa version, 'no? So, the one that we have here has the Hypnotize. Some of the other versions might carry yung pull the lever, wrong
Yeah.
lever, 'no? So,
I think
we're just
I'm more scared of that configuration to be honest, but this is still good.
So parang it's again dito sa Infinity I guess is that there's a lot more skill expression yun yung sinasabi nila eh. So the skill comes from how you design your deck, what cards you're more comfortable in using, and how you put them all together. So I'm not saying that there's one version that's better than the other, no. So it sometimes ends up with the pilot playing it to a certain way, no? So yung ibang tao, what they would do is siyempre marami kang Diablo. The dream dito is ano eh, Diablo on turn 1, small Diablo on turn 1. On turn 2, you play an Ursula to
Get
snipe
rid,
out
yeah, any
and
removal,
any pew pews,
yeah.
and then you shift the Diablo, and then the Diablo can sing either a sudden chill or a friends. Ganun lang yun. So, and then of course, the following turn, magdodraw ka na, and then you keep discarding their hand while you have more cards in hand. And dun siya nananalo. No? So some versions will also have more Dumbos, some will have more Genies, some decks will have more discard. No? And I think yung one card here that kind of transformed how people play this deck is the Snow
Snow Fort.
Forts. No? So
Oh, it's so
so
much harder to kill Diablo. That's it. That's like
uh,
it used to be like if we had let the Storm Rage on or anything that's 2 damage, Diablo is just dead. But now that with Snow Fort, it just becomes a whole chore altogether to deal with Diablo. Evasive
nas-
with resist 1, and it just becomes such a headache, such a pain.
so hindi rin siya na sisisu
Yeah,
ng walang help, hindi rin siya na under the sea ng walang help if you have a Snow Fort in play. It used to be a hidden cove.
yeah,
Yun yung ginagamit ng mga tao. No? So ngayon medyo mas resilient na siya. Now also pumps up all of your other characters, which is also good.
yeah.
No?
It makes the Peter
So
Pan a bit more effective, a lot more
mm,
effective because your evasive challengers now have rush and they can hit much harder thanks to Snowfort. That Iago's gonna be taking out a lot of big targets. Well, that 4-6 becomes a 5-6 rush and evasive, and boom, there goes whatever you have exerted.
mm. So depende rin sa version. So some versions will carry crabs, some
Mm.
will carry foxes, no, some will have no Dumbo, some will have no.
Some have
So
a
it's just
cricky.
some have crickies, no. So ano siya parang again there's a lot of variety to the decks that you'll encounter. Pero parang again, GP discards only main strategy is to cheat out the Diablo really early, keep the discard coming while having Diablo in
And
play.
control the
Yun
board,
yung
then quest out with your genies.
basta, so kaya niya rin kasi mag-speed kung kakayanin niya kasi
Yeah.
kapag medyo clear na yung Prince Johns can quest, the genies can quest. So the next one we have
This
is
is
of
the
course
last and probably the best in my opinion, the best
oo,
mid-range
oo.
deck.
So it can be aggro, but generally I would say that this is a more mid-range deck because it needs to do a little bit of setup.
Mm-hmm.
But of course you have Steelsong. This one might have the most variety out of the out of the other decks, no? Kasi the version of the Steelsong that you will encounter varies really wildly,
Mm-hmm.
no? Nag-iiba siya. Some will still carry the Robin shifts. Some will carry the Queen shifts. Some will have Naveen, some will not. Some will have the Aerial Sonic Warriors,
Yeah.
some will not.
It really
No?
depends on which singer they want to shift into play so that they can sing more songs.
Oh, yun, depende na lang sa
Depende na lang.
depende na lang kung sinong gusto nilang kumanta,
Mm.
no? But generally the strategy is to have a few of your characters singers in play, no? While you sing a wheel or yung a whole new
A whole
world,
new world.
which is the wheel effect, no? So discard your hand to draw 7. And then yung madodraw mo will probably have more pew-pews, no? And then you pew-pew all the other people there on the other side.
And then
And
quest out
then
when the board
and
is
quest
clear.
out when the board is clear or kahit di clear yung board when lamang ka ng characters in play.
Mm.
No? So you generally have to starve this deck of
Singers.
the song. Yeah. So if you one good way to deal with this deck is to of course have beats or yun nga parang there has been as you have said BJ an
Yeah.
uptick in nga bali yung
K-Taos.
K-Taos
Keep the ancient ways because of
Yep.
the popularity of items in Infinity.
Mm. Plus
Some
plus the
Steelsong.
songs.
Yeah.
Plus the songs, no? So ano yan eh, parang ideally what this deck will do is that they will also, after a wheel, play a pit
Mhm.
para hindi barilin yung mga tao sa side niya, no? So that's how it
Yeah.
generally goes.
Actually, again, as a Kiwi player na meron din items to a certain extent, I got locked out in one game against this because they used keep the ancient ways instead of Pete. I couldn't play my play my popsicles and 40 spheres, so I couldn't dig through my deck, and it just lit quite. It was a tough game that I of course lost because Blue Steel Kiwi against this is probably a 7-3-7 matchup. It's again to me it's the best mid-range deck. And it uh, also carries a lot of variety. There's a lot of skill expression that you can do. There are many things that you can tweak depending on what your vision is of the deck. But I guess the important thing here is that you need to get your a whole new world online, so you just keep on wheeling and wheeling and singing and singing and wheeling and wheeling, and then once the board is clear of the others, quest out to win the game.
Minsan sobrang unstoppable nitong deck na 'to, eh, especially if they like chain 2 wheels
Yeah.
na magkasunod parang, parang how do
and
I deal with
and
this?
then you lose all your cards. Like
Oo,
you
yun
suddenly
kasi
see your key cards go to your discard pile.
yun yung problema. 'Pag naka-wheel sila ng isa, biglang back in the game sila,
Mm.
eh, out of nowhere, eh. So, that's something that you'll have to really deal with, 'no? So, yeah, Steelsong.
Yeah, that's the best mid-range deck. And now we go on to the not
Control
necessarily the
decks.
best, but it's just the control decks. But
No,
it's one of the more
but arguably the most popular,
yeah.
I think, no? So it's RS items, no? So it's just get a bunch of items out as much as you can, no? And ramping all the way until you stabilize the board with B preps, you stabilize the board with Sisus, and then you just end the game even from zero
Yeah,
lore with the
Tamatawa.
Tamatoa na ano, so shiny, and then the Lucky Dime. Yun lang.
Yeah, I've fallen victim to this deck so many times, especially with that Tamato. You don't even have to quest the Tamatoa. The Tamatoa just needs to be there so that the Lucky Dime could gain lore from it. And sometimes they would get an opponent would have just 3 lore, and then suddenly Tamatawa would just win it for them.
Mhm.
Tamatawa and Lucky Dime would just win it for them almost instantaneously. So yeah, but one of the key cards here is really apart from the items, is Maurice's Workshop. Maurice's Workshop really just keeps the hand full because of the amount of items. Imagine drawing 2 for your popsicle for just paying an extra additional ink. There are some versions that have Oswald's because they take advantage of yung Fishbone Quill and the Great Stone Dragon, so that every time you ink, you potentially get a free item out in play. And whenever you get one of those items like Popsicle that draws you a card the moment they hit play, it's just a lot of value. So just a really good consistent deck that again.
Consistent, I'm not quite sure. Kasi
I
ano
don't know,
siya,
it's
eh,
been pretty
para
consistent.
again, maybe depende sa
Mm.
player. Pero parang you see the composition of the deck and you'll see why it loses to aggro.
Although
Kasi
ano,
by the
I think this
by
is the more consistent version. Yung mga less consistent version actually is the one with Oswald. Because
pero
you're
parang
RNG out.
all the same kapag ano, ito usually game time niya is like turn 5 eh. Turn 5, turn 6 when things start, cranking up. But by that time, the aggro player would have probably already
Yeah.
won. Yun kasi yung problema doon, no?
Actually, Sisu yung
So,
answer dun eh. Sisu is the answer, their aggro
yeah.
answer, their aggro tech. And of course,
Mhm.
there's Hideaway for against the MacDucks, the locations.
Mhm.
But yeah,
But
again,
still,
I've fallen so much to this deck. Before it wasn't as bad, but suddenly when people started to figure out the most optimal way, it's like it became such a chore to play against this deck. But again, it's popular for a reason. Yeah.
ang problema nito is ano eh, parang pag ano talaga, pag hindi mo talaga nakuha lahat ng mga kailangan mo. No? And there's an enormous number of uninkables in this deck that it's kind of very difficult. So you'd have to
Mhm.
play really well. No? Kasi parang hovering around like 16
Yeah.
na?
Well, again, I'm used to
More.
that.
16 16 to 18 yung
Yeah,
amis ito eh, kaya
yung
medyo
18 is
nakaka-taper eh.
is a bit extreme.
Over na. Pero parang 16 definitely because you need the 4 small sisus, you need
Mm,
the 4 big sisus, you probably have 4 B preps, and then some number of
mm.
workshops, and then the dime. So yung 16.
But again, you can with this once
May fishbone ka naman eh,
if you're
kaya
able to
ano.
set up this, you could just pretty much get through your whole deck and get anything you want because of the more workshop and the pop skills and all the other ways that you could get to your items and to your to the cards that you need like Tamatoa, So Shiny.
Ano lang, display items and then win
Yeah.
ng big, no. Kaya kasing
Lore bump
ibalik ni
talaga.
Tamatoa ano, Happy as a Clam yung mga cards from
Yeah.
the wave, so it makes it a little bit easier for them. So hindi gano'n ka problem sa kanila yung mamatay yung mga items sila. You delay them, but eventually
It'll come back.
it'll come back. No, pero you don't know kasi minsan yung delay na yun could really mean a lot for certain decks. No?
Especially
Pero
aggro
parang
ones, definitely.
for the aggro ones,
The aggro matchup here
uh,
is not as good.
yung kailangan mong ingatan dito talaga is yung workshop. If you are able to
If
deal
you
with the workshop, it makes this deck a little bit more sad. Okay, so the next one is ES
it's a
discard.
very popular deck. This is one of the more
And
popular decks in
and
the format.
probably again people are have saying, no, namely namely si Juancho. Juancho's been saying that this is the most difficult deck to play. And I could see why. Kasi the deck is very paano ko ba 'to sasabihin?
It has
The
many
deck is
lines.
yes, 'yon. So ang dami niyang puwedeng gawin, no, and just one small miscalculation could cost you the game, no? But if you do select the correct lines, then dude, parang why am I even playing? Yun
Yeah.
kasi yun yung feeling dun, no? So, the deck got some help over the past few sets, no? Namely yung mga max goofs to recur some of the cards. So pwede mong pabalik-balik gamitin yung yung Sank of Raging Fire, no? Pwede mong balik yung mga sudden chills if you need more discard. So generally ang isa sa mga key card dito is of course si Ursula, Deceiver of All, which can double sing your important cards like double sing Strength, double sing Let
Sudden
the Sun
chill.
Rage On, double sing Sudden Chill.
That's painful. Double
Medyo
sing sudden
masakit
chill. Ang
yon.
sakit. Sa two
Medyo
cards,
masakit
the
yon.
gun. Ah.
Plus if you have a Prince John in play, parang
Then you just gave him two cards. Yeah.
yeah, I just gave him 2 cards, no? So ano yan, parang isa yun sa mga parang dapat kill on sight.
Yeah.
Oo.
Actually, the thing
I feel
nakakainis sa deck na to, this is what I don't like facing this deck. Almost everything in their first turn is kill on sight.
yeah.
Almost everything in their first and second turn is kill on sight.
Well, except maybe the Ursula
That's
Deceivers,
why I
pero
said
parang
almost anything. But still, that Ursula's gonna take out something from you. Probably gonna take out something from you. But Diablo, you don't know whether you're gonna kill it immediately or not, so they don't have a shift target, or you wait for the Diablo. But then if you wait for the Diablo, your removal might get Ursula. So it's just in the same way that it's hard to pilot, it's also hard to counter against because you're thinking of all the other lines that they could take. There's just so many options here. Like you said, here in the shift option, see, there's if a morph hits the table, what's it gonna be next turn?
Hindi mo alam eh. Maraming options eh.
Yeah.
No, so some versions will carry other shift targets. FYI, Diablo can also shift into a morph
Yes,
in a
exactly.
pinch kung sobrang kailangan, no? Pero yun nga, it can shift into a pit, no? It can shift more often than not, it shifts into a
To the
beast,
beast, yeah,
no?
because that's card
It
draw.
can some decks can also shift into the big max goof, no? For a little bit more card recursion. It can also sometimes shift into a Tinkerbell giant fairy. No, but I think it has fallen out of favor. Pero parang again, kung medyo old school yung kalaban ninyo, baka lumabas siya eh. Nakakainis pa din. Kasi ang problema niya, shift siya so it can challenge right away.
Mhm.
So that's the problematic
Actually,
part,
that
no?
Pete when you, that get Pete gets shifted in and then challenges whatever, it's just so hard to
Yeah.
get rid of. And when it's
Yung
exerted, you can't sing. It's like
Yeah, so
ah,
ito yung key card na ano eh na gagamitin mo. So depending on who you're dealing with or who's using kung anong deck yung nasa kabilang side,
yeah,
no, kung anong shift yung gagamitin mo. So kung naka Steelsong or maraming mga songs yung nasa kabila, then pick yung shift mo. Now if you're lacking some draw, you shift in a beast.
beast, yeah,
Now yung other card that I think puts this a little bit over is yung muses din.
the muse
So kada sing mo, nagba-bounce ka
bounce.
ng mga characters mo. And FYI, if you double sing with Ursula, you also
That
double
was
bounce on the other side, no? Some tech that you could do is you could also bounce your max goofs so you can play them again to get more cards back the following turn. Or if you have the ink, you can do it the
all
same
over
turn
again.
all over again.
And
No?
over and over and over again.
Paulit-ulit. Again, a very difficult deck to pilot and kung very scary in the hands of a very capable pilot. Okay, and then our last
The
one
last one,
is
right?
Sprite, no?
Amber Emerald
Amber
discard.
Emerald
As
discard.
you can see, a
So,
lot the
itong deck na
discards are
'to,
very
hindi pa rin
popular.
yeah, but
Just goes to
again,
show the power
yung
level
the
of
only
Diablo
hindi
and
tsaka ano,
PJ.
parang just know na yung mga discard strategies are also very weak against high draw decks like
Mm,
Ruby, Amber, gano'n. So just take note na para again, it's just rock, paper, scissors eh. So an AE discard would probably not do really well against a ano, RA. While an RA would probably not do very well against like items probably kasi maraming wipe din. May wipe sila, may
wipes,
wipe din
yeah.
kayo. So it's wipe city, no? And yun nga parang kaya kasing manalo out of the blue yung ano. So we have that. But Amber Emerald discard is the slowest out of the control decks. When we say slowest, is that it quests really, really
As
slow.
you can see from the lore pips in this
Oh,
deck, it's like
parang
barely any two lore questors.
barely any.
There's only two lore questors actually.
Mm,
PJ and Ariel, and you won't even quest PJ that often.
hindi pa magke-quest si PJ. Actually, some decks, may variations ito. Some will carry Kidas instead
Ida.
of the
Mm,
aerial.
yeah.
So parang ang gagawin nila is they do the Kida na legendary -3 lahat and then they
Then
do a
UTS,
UTS.
yeah.
Yes, so yun siya. The reason why this deck is so slow is that kung walang hand yung kalaban, walang discard at mabagal din umandar yung deck.
Mm.
Yun kasi yung magiging problema. But once na may UTS ka nitong deck na to, it gets really difficult to get back. Kasi na-UTS ka na nga, tapos diniscard pa lahat ng kamay mo, tapos paisa-isa pa siya nagke-quest na sobrang bagal, 1, 2, 3 lore every turn, parang you're just sitting there annoyed, parang, parang sobrang
Yeah.
yun yung ayaw ko dito sa deck na 'to, eh. Parang ang torture
Torture.
sobra
That's
kasi hindi
true.
niya kayang mag-quest na hindi niya kayang mag-quest na mabilis, pero parang ayaw mo rin naman sumuko agad kasi parang malay mo makakuha ka ng top deck ng maganda, pero parang again, yun yung problem
Yeah,
nito.
once it controls you, it's pretty much game over.
Gamit
Once
it still also has the muses then.
mm,
So it can bounce people on the other side, it can bounce yung nasa sayo. So the thing that makes this a little bit more consistent is that marami siyang mga songs. You can have a muses in play, you sing a song, you bounce your aerial spectacular singer again. Tapos i-play it again to find
Find the
more
new
songs.
songs,
So
yeah.
palaging may kanta na kinakanta itong deck na to.
And
So palaging may
that Dela gives more bounce targets to you. That
mas
Dela's
marami pang idedela mo na siya, meron pa siyang Painting the Roses Red. So mas maraming pwedeng ma-UTS, mas maraming pwedeng ma-bounce ang muses. Ang ano dito is that you have to go really fast or i-overload mo yung hand so that they don't have yung discard thingies. Pero kasi may bounce kasi na muses so it makes it a little bit tricky to fight, but yun nga, parang it's there
if you train yourself to play without cards in hand, like us blue steel players, you might stand a chance.
I think in general parang um it's always good practice, I feel, that if your opponent has Prince Johns in play, to try to remove cards from your hand as soon
Yeah,
as you can.
so that it doesn't
I-dump mo
get
na lang
value.
para hindi nagdo-draw yung Prince John. Yun kasi yun eh. Parang if you leave cards in hand thinking na, okay, I'll use it, ma-discard lang siya tapos nag-draw siya.
Yeah,
Parang
use it
it
or lose
feels
it.
bad. Might as well na ibaba mo na lang siya. But ito nga yung problema ng deck na to kasi they could bounce it and then they could discard it.
Yeah.
Yun.
Yan
Ganun
yung
din
puno.
yung ganun din yung sa Emerald Steel discard. They bounce in the muses and then they discard it from your hand. Parang, why? No.
Yeah.
Pero
Well,
yun nga, mas kayang mag-bounce nito because of the muses and the Delas and
didn't we used to think that Amethyst was the most broken color? I'm starting to think it's Emerald.
hindi sa Infinity feeling ko mas maraming variety.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so with that we took the top 3, well, based on statistics anyway, top 3 decks per archetype, but of course we won't leave you hanging. We'll also be at least taking note of some other decks. So for aggro, you have yung Lemons. So Lemons plays very quick characters, pretty much like dogs. It also has Snow Fort, which is kind of annoying. No, you also have the Chernadogs.
Chernadogs.
So
Which
it's
has
technically
Chernabog.
just the dogs. It's technically just the dogs deck from core. Only that you just put like Chernabog. No, so yung Chernabog is you place. It's cheaper if you have characters in
In your
your
discard.
discard,
Which is
which you would
easy with Tramp.
which you would probably have with your Tramp. Tapos parang ang combo line nito is Tramp into another Tramp into a Chernabog.
Yeah.
And not a lot of decks can deal with that at like mga turn 4,
Yeah.
turn
Chernabog's like
5.
10-10. Quest
No,
for
9
9-9.
9
Quest for 3.
3.
But it's 10 cost 9-9 quest for 3, but it gets reduced. The cost gets reduced the more characters you have in your discard pile.
So ano siya, parang it's an option that people could take into consideration if they're moving from core to infinity nang wala gaanong ginagastos.
Yes.
No? Of course, the ever so present Sapphire Steel items,
blue steel
which
items.
used to be the top dog.
Then Hiram got
Until
banned.
Hiram got banned. But again, still a very capable deck. No, I've seen some people rock this deck then. No, still very viable. Yung mga cult of the blue steel.
The cult of blue
Sila pa
steel
rin yung
still loves it.
gumagamit. And
Yeah.
still very
Yeah, it's still
okay deck.
you can't change the Tamatoa Lucky Dime combo. That combination just really wins games. There are some things in Steel that kind of enable that a bit quicker than RB items, but I think RB items is more consistent all throughout.
No, so yung green blue items is also something that's so it's a variation of the ruby steel items. Only
Again,
that
Tamatoa plus Lucky Dime.
plus ang consistency factor niya is that it has UTS as a board wipe.
It has UTS and it also has what's it, Ratigan Strap.
Ratigan Strap.
Which kind of gives you a bit more time to execute your game plan because it reduces lore of your opponent. So
2.
Reduces
So
by
what
2.
happens is that they play a Tamatoa Happy as a Clam to get it back, and then you
And
lose
then you
2 or
lose 2
2 lang.
again, yeah.
Parang, so nakaka-annoy,
It's so
'di ba?
annoying.
It also benefits from getting that song na Spinoil ni Earl.
Yeah. So someone will lose their head.
Yeah. So it's there. And then of course you have yung Purple Seal Tempo Challengers. No? So it's marami siyang versions then. Some will go pretty much like the burn style na meron silang mga challengers plus gathering knowledge, goats, bouncing the goats.
Cobras!
So cobras to ito, may cobra sila, no? So you've seen some people use it. I know of some people using it. It's a solid deck to use. And of course, Blurple
Blurple.
still there.
Ever-present Blurple.
Present Blurple. No, again, if you have Blurple and you're moving to infinity, you could just like use
Slap.
use it as is if you
Yeah,
want to. You
actually.
could say pretty much is the same deck.
It
No?
used to be not the same deck, then Let It Go got printed, so now it's the same deck.
Now it's the same deck. No. Other cards na you slot in, pwede, again, the bounce package is
Yeah,
always
Meme
something that you
Fox.
could use. Meme Fox, Meme
Crab.
Snake. No? So
Merlin
to add
Crab.
a little bit more consistency to it. Pero parang generally, it's technically the
Yeah,
same.
it's the same thing.
It's almost the same. So parang it's core Blurple with the bounce package, and that's technically the deck. No? But a lot less one drops. Syempre kasi hindi naman siya nagmamadali kasi marami kang mga good cards to bounce. But you have it there. No, and dahil nga flavor of the month, meron tayong Wilds Unknown na na-spoil. There have been people rocking the Christmas
Christmas Megara.
Megara Herc combo. So siya, parang unlike the Monstro combo, which is still okay. Sa Infinity kasi there's a lot more decks that could reliably remove a character in play. Kaya yung Monstro kasi has to stay in board for one turn. Tapos pagbalik sa'yo, panalo ka na. No? Yung Megara kasi has ward.
Yeah.
So
What?
kailangan ng board wipe para ma-GG itong Megara na to, no?
Nawala yung
But
step na
yun
pray it
nga,
survives.
nawala yung step na pray it survives.
Dahil may
So you
ward.
could have the cards and then just play it. Again, the problem with this deck is draw. So I think
As usual,
yung
with
pinakamaganda
color combination actually.
yung color combination na to is really difficult. Kaya ang feeling kong the best shell nito is to have the Herc combo and then have yung discard. So you have the Prince Johns, Sudden Chill, Bruno. You can also play Undermine.
Undermine.
Which is, so
one of the
+2.
stronger cards actually. A very strong
+2
card.
then discard. So ang maganda dun is that you can deal with characters as they are questing and then nakapag-discard ka pa. And if you have PJs, you draw more cards. And then, yun. So, kung ano man yung mangyayari dito sa deck na to, hindi natin alam. We'll see.
We'll see.
Pero yun siya. So, please drop in the comments if you would want us to talk about these decks further.
Yeah.
Meron
Deep
kayong
dive.
mga
A
deck
deeper
na
dive.
gusto ninyong mag-deep dive into certain decks. What you could do is you can try to get footage on us playing it. Tapos may commentary kung paano namin siya linalaro. Kung gusto niyo yun din, please do
Tell us.
drop down on the comments. No? But this is just a small introduction to some decks, how they play, what cards you need to what they call this,
To
look
look
out
out
for.
for.
Yung mga pinakita namin dito sa slides, they're not the parang core nung deck. We just got some samples from yun nga yung recent results. Sinagay namin dyan. We also talked about some cards na can go in and out of each of these decks. No? So, nasa sa inyo na kung ano yung version na lalaroin ninyo. Again, certain people will play certain cards. They would prefer certain cards over others. And this is a matter of like playing and seeing what works best for you. Okay,
Okay.
so just some ulit, so
Reminders lang.
konting reminders lang. So some Infinity events, we thought about doing deck deep, not necessarily dive, a deck intro to the meta in preparation for the Asia Circuit main event, which is in 2 weeks time. 2 weeks time, no? And then yung sa Pix Infinity Cup is there, and of course yung Lorcana Open, which people will hopefully attend, no? And then of course DLC Beijing and DLC Manila. So,
Yun. All right.
any other announcements, BJ?
Wala naman. Pero, yun, thank you very much everyone for
I think may
joining us.
nakalimutan kang
Ano?
announcement.
Nakalimutan ko?
Di ba may suit ka sa ulo mo?
Oo nga pala. Well, kasi naman, hindi pa natin officially nala-launch siya. It's just currently, we only have a few in stock and we're probably gonna be, actually not probably, we're gonna be giving them away. We're not selling them currently, but we are giving them away. Hindi ko pa alam kung paano namin ipamimigay.
Comments! Comment!
O ikaw, ano ba naisip mo? Yeah, just stay.
Hindi. No, I mean like, again, with our previous...
Yeah. Sa raffle.
Pwede namin iparaffle, or kung talagang meron kaming mga comment na nagustuhan when you post in this video, then pwede namin ibigay sa inyo.
Yes. We have a limited run of these. So we're gonna give one of the snapback and another of the trucker mesh. So yun yung mga pamimigay namin sa ating mga pamangk-ink na masugid na nakikinig sa atin sa susunod na raffle, which will happen likely next week. Kasi hindi tayo nakapag-raffle nung last week dahil nagkaroon
hindi
ng
tayo nakapag-raffle.
So
because
yun.
of stuffs.
Because of stuff. But yun, just sound off in the comments. And if we like your comment, you will be included in the raffle. And
or if we like your comment, super like, then diretsong meron na kayong kapag sinimula na namin kayong kausapin sa comments nang nagre-reply kami na nagkaroon na siya ng thread, naku, baka makakuha kayo ng
bibigay na lang namin straight up.
So make sure na maganda yung pinag-uusapan natin para it's maybe you share your opinions on some of what we shared. Maybe post your deck lists, no?
Yeah, that would be great.
Ask specific questions about how you feel certain decks could be played. We could help you out there. Kasi ang gusto lang naman natin is that everybody be in tip-top shape for DLC Manila. Kasi syempre, defend DLC Manila tayo.
Yes. All right. Okay, anyway, yeah. That is it. Thank you very much once again for joining us, mga Pamangk-ink. Again, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and get a chance to win this hat. Bye-bye!